The story opens with Holly Pierpoint, a successful university professor in her mid-40s, preparing for what she claims is a work trip to attend an academic conference in Colorado Springs. While driving, she receives a call from her husband, Russell, checking to make sure she arrived safely. Trying to lighten the mood, Russell suggests they plan a vacation together soon. Holly responds with noticeable coldness, blaming exhaustion and constant travel, and insists that all she truly wants is some peace and quiet at home. But the very next scene exposes the lie. The road she's on doesn't lead to a conference at all, it leads to Aspen. The suspicion deepens when she arrives at the hotel and the receptionist greets her as Mrs. Allen. A young employee named Dave is assigned to escort her to an exclusive suite known as the Black Diamond. The truth slowly comes into focus. Holly isn't here for work. She's here for a secret getaway with her lover, completely ignoring the consequences of that choice. On the way to the suite, Dave strikes up a casual conversation. Excited about his recent marriage, he asks Holly for advice on how to ensure a stable married life. She responds without enthusiasm, offering generic advice about mutual support and paying attention to small gestures, like buying flowers. Dave thanks her sincerely before leaving her alone. Inside the suite, Holly discovers an envelope containing vague instructions directing her to the laundry room. There, she finds another message from her lover, inviting her to uncover a surprise hidden in the closet, and suggesting she experience it differently by wearing a blindfold. When she opens the box, she finds lingerie and handcuffs. Without hesitation, Holly changes, blindfolds herself, and restrains herself to the bed. Someone enters the room, who she assumes is her lover. The encounter begins with a tone of intimacy and excitement, but quickly shifts into something far darker. Holly tries to stop what's happening, but fails. The moment ends in shock, collapse, and uncontrollable tears. After the man leaves for the living area, the biggest secret is revealed. The person in the room was not her lover at all, it was Russell, her husband. In the adjacent suite, Everett Allen, Holly's 27-year-old lover and former student, is being held under direct threat. Russell forces him into complete silence, warning that any deviation from the plan will put Everett's wife and young daughter, Jessica, in danger. They are already under his control. Russell leaves Everett behind with a phone and walks away. After Everett helps Holly free herself, she explodes in anger, blaming him for everything, still unaware that her husband is the mastermind behind it all. Holly attempts to leave immediately, but a sudden call from Russell reaches Everett. The message is clear: if Holly leaves, Everett's family will suffer a tragic end. Forced into desperation, Everett begs Holly to stay, barely managing to convince her. Later, Everett tries to reason with Russell, but Russell reveals that he discovered the affair months earlier after noticing repeated money transfers. He now demands that Everett continue acting as if the vacation is going normally, warning that any attempt to contact the police or escape will be met with violence. The threat reaches its peak when Everett hears his wife's voice over the phone. Trapped under unbearable pressure, Everett has no choice but to fabricate excuses, making a desperate attempt to hide the truth of what really happened to Holly. Suddenly, Holly receives a phone call from Russell. At the exact same moment, a loud knock hits the suite door, distracting Everett. He steps away to answer it, only to find hotel security complaining about excessive noise. Meanwhile, Holly continues the call alone. During the conversation, Holly is stunned to realize that Russell knows everything about her affair with Everett. Instead of confronting her with anger or accusations, he calmly warns her that she has placed herself in a dangerous situation. Russell describes Everett as unstable, someone with a troubling history of relationships that mysteriously ended with women disappearing from his life. At first, Holly tries to deny the affair, but it quickly becomes clear that Russell knows every detail. Left with no choice, she agrees to follow his instructions, leave the hotel quietly, without Everett noticing. Everett returns, and to keep her inside the suite, he suggests a relaxing massage. He then casually takes her phone, claiming he wants to set it aside so no one disturbs them. But anxiety overwhelms Holly. Unable to maintain the act, she suddenly stands up, saying she needs a shower to wash off the oils. She tries to take her phone with her, but Everett grabs it first, forcing her to enter the bathroom without it. With every option closing in, Holly steps out onto the balcony and begins screaming for help. Her cries echo into the night, but no one hears her. At this point, the extent of Russell's manipulation becomes clear. He urges his wife to escape, while simultaneously ordering Everett to keep her trapped inside the suite. Everett hears a faint noise at the door and, against Russell's direct orders, steps out to investigate. Instantly, a message arrives, a photo of his wife, Lydia, with a knife pressed against her throat. Everett collapses, begging for her life. Russell coldly commands him to return immediately and check on Holly. Everett breaks into the bathroom, finding Holly shaken and terrified. In that moment, she realizes that a man capable of forcing his way in over a brief delay is far more dangerous than she ever imagined. Back in the living area, Everett receives another message, this time sent from Holly's own phone, confirming that Russell now controls it. The threat escalates. For every mistake Holly makes, Lydia will lose a finger. Russell then reveals he has placed sleeping pills on the table and orders Everett to sedate her immediately. Panicking, Everett tries to understand how Russell is watching them, frantically searching the suite for hidden cameras. At the same time, Holly retrieves her own sleeping pills, quietly deciding to turn the plan against him. Everett prepares a small table on the balcony and offers her a drink he has secretly drugged. She refuses and asks instead for white wine. As he steps away to fetch it, Holly seizes the moment and slips the pills into his glass. Before either of them can take a sip, another knock interrupts the scene. Everett rushes to the door holding a knife, only to discover it's Dave, delivering their room service. After Dave leaves, having received a tip from Holly, the two sit down for dinner, which turns out to be nothing more than a barely cooked steak. As they eat, the conversation spirals into bitter accusations. Each blames the other for starting the affair, despite knowing full well that they were both married. Then, another knock hits the door, perfectly timed with a message arriving on Everett's phone. Russell reveals what Holly whispered to Dave while tipping him, a request to call 911. Because of Everett's mistake and momentary lapse in attention, Russell follows through on his threat, sending a horrifying image of Lydia's severed ring finger. Frozen in shock, Everett can barely move. That's when Holly makes her move, attempting to seduce him, only to abruptly flip the power dynamic. She presses a knife to his throat, determined to finally uncover the truth and learn his real intentions. In a split second, Everett reacts, softening his tone and pretending affection. He kisses her, just one kiss, nothing more, throwing Holly off balance. In that moment, a deeper truth slips out. His words reveal Russell's involvement in abducting Everett's family and orchestrating an elaborate punishment-driven plan. As the tension momentarily eases, the effects of the sleeping pills begin to take hold. Both Holly and Everett grow dizzy, their movements slowing, until they gradually lose consciousness. Everett wakes to find himself lying on the bed, a syringe clutched in his hand. Holly remains restrained in the living room, accusing him in a trembling voice of being a deranged serial killer. She warns him that Russell will hand the police enough evidence to destroy him completely. When Everett enters the bedroom, he is met with a horrifying sight. Russell is tied to a chair, gagged, his tongue severed, unable to speak. Desperate to understand what happened and save his family, Everett hands Russell a pen and paper, urging him to write the name of whoever is truly responsible. He returns to free Holly, but instead of gratitude, she greets him with accusations. The tension between them escalates, pushing Everett closer to the edge. The two are led back into the bedroom, where Russell lies dying, strapped to a wheelchair. Holly collapses in tears, bitterly asking how Everett could ever go this far. Everett insists again that he did not kill Russell, but the syringe in his hand makes him look undeniably guilty. Holly watches helplessly as her husband dies a slow, agonizing death. As Russell's grip loosens, Holly notices a note in his hand. She quietly takes it and chooses not to show it to Everett. Suddenly, Everett receives a call from a distorted voice, the hidden mastermind behind everything. The message is brutal. Only one of the lovers is allowed to leave the hotel and return to their family. The other will meet a horrific end at the hands of their partner. They must choose. The voice also reveals that Holly's daughter, Chelsea, is under surveillance, and that her friend Sammy is involved in the plan. Any act of defiance, they warn, will result in Chelsea being harmed. As Everett considers his next move, Holly opens the note. Inside, there is only one word written on it, safe. She doesn't yet understand its full meaning. The tension spikes when Everett suddenly rises, gripping a knife, prepared to kill Holly to secure his return to his family. At that exact moment, hotel management enters the suite, distracting Everett. Holly seizes the opportunity and opens a closet, revealing a hidden safe. She recalls a small code mentioned earlier in a conversation with Russell and tries it. The safe opens. Inside, there is nothing but a memory card, deepening the mystery rather than resolving it. Hotel staff begin asking questions about the disappearance of Dave, the young employee. Everett denies knowing anything. Security insists on further questioning, and both Holly and Everett realize they must cooperate if they want any chance of saving their families. After Holly delivers carefully crafted answers to the hotel manager, she and Everett are left alone once more. Suspicion still clouds her eyes. She confronts Everett, demanding to know how deeply he is involved in the nightmare. Everett finally explains. The severed finger of his wife, Lydia, sent as a punishment, was the result of his failure to fully obey Russell's rules. Even after hearing this, Holly remains unconvinced. She points out that Everett was moments away from killing her, had security not arrived at precisely the right time. Everett responds quietly, explaining that everything he did was driven by one thing alone: his desperate need to return to his family. Everett finally confesses the truth. It was Russell who assaulted Holly earlier in the bedroom, the mind that set the rules from the very beginning. The deal was simple and cruel at the same time: absolute obedience, stay inside the suite, and reveal nothing, in exchange for being allowed to leave at sunrise. Broken and desperate, Everett tries to approach Holly, pleading with her. But the moment turns tragic. A sudden, clumsy movement and the knife plunges into his abdomen by accident. Blood pours out, the wound clearly fatal. Despite the severe bleeding, Everett knows he cannot call for help or break the rules. His family is still being held hostage by the mastermind. As his life slips away, he begs Holly not to reveal their affair to his wife or daughter. Holly holds him, trying to comfort him, but the injury seals his fate. His voice fades and Everett dies. Suddenly, Everett's phone rings. With trembling hands, Holly answers. On the other end is the voice of the true architect of everything, calm, satisfied. The caller congratulates her on passing the final test, telling her she is now one step away from freedom. She is instructed to destroy the phone in the microwave for 30 seconds. Then comes a choice: leave immediately and abandon everything, or, if she wants to understand the real motive behind it all, go to room 513. Either way, she is promised safety. Her freedom awaits. Holly follows the instructions precisely. She takes the room key from her dead husband's pocket and places the phone inside the microwave. After a brief hesitation, she chooses the truth and heads to room 513. Inside, she is confronted with a horrifying reality: multiple surveillance screens documenting her every move since the moment she arrived. As she searches the room, she discovers a woman bound and blindfolded. When Holly removes the blindfold, she realizes it's Lydia, Everett's wife. Holly tries to calm her, postponing any questions about Everett's fate, determined to call the police immediately. But her attention is drawn to one of the monitors. She inserts the memory card she found earlier into the system. The shock is devastating. The footage shows Russell himself installing the surveillance cameras, with Lydia standing behind him, watching and actively participating. The truth finally becomes clear: Lydia is the true mastermind behind everything. A chill runs through Holly as she senses danger. Lydia stands behind her now, her gaze cold, ready to confront her. Lydia calmly admits that she orchestrated the entire nightmare, working alongside Russell out of revenge. She reveals that she was responsible for the disappearance of the women who had been involved with Everett in the past. But what Lydia could never tolerate was Everett's obsession with Holly. The horrors continue. Holly discovers Dave's lifeless body, further proof of Lydia's madness. It becomes clear that Lydia also murdered Russell after he tried to back out of the final plan to eliminate both Everett and Holly. Russell's goal had been different: to humiliate Holly, lure her into being caught in the act, and then allow hotel management to storm the Diamond Suite and expose everything. With a cold smile, Lydia explains that Holly's fingerprints are everywhere: on the syringe, on the tool used to sever Russell's tongue, and on the knife that killed Dave. As for the memory card, the final piece of evidence, Lydia smashes it violently and flushes it down the toilet. Trapped, with no way to prove her innocence, Holly collapses. The weight of her betrayal, her mistakes, and the destruction of her once stable family crashes down on her. In a final, desperate explosion of rage, Holly grabs a vase and smashes it against Lydia's head with lethal force. Lydia drops to the floor, motionless. The film ends on a haunting still shot of Holly standing amid the wreckage, staring into her inevitable fate. Just before hotel security bursts into the room, weapons raised, ordering her to surrender.